imagine, but I believe you. Okay, we'll get good morning, Megan. Megan, say hello to TJ. He's visiting and checking us out. Megan is one of my launch coaches. She's also a graduate from this program. During COVID, she graduated in the program.
Are you ready for us?
I am. Well, I thought I sent it to the printer earlier, but it did. I wasn't near the printer, so I couldn't hear it, and it didn't send me an error. And I'm like, okay, what was that about? Getting us on Zoom. I'll get us to, I will cast to the screen. Just have a couple of steps to get us all up and going. Yay. Got it? Got it. See where my Zoom people are. Let me get my volume up. Okay. Check the temperature of my tea. Last week I burned my mouth so badly on hot tea.
Nothing worse than there is.
Oh, it wasn't just my tongue. I burned the whole, oh, it was, this is like. Well, we have an instant hot water here, and then I have my own kettle. And what I forget is, I've been using this insulated cup, and then I'll put the lid on, and it does not cool down very quickly. And I just took a big old swig, and that was not a good outcome at all. Quiet, yeah, good. Come up a little closer if you would. And the reason being the PowerPoint I find has, the words are pretty small on it on some of the pages. I don't want you guys having to squint too much. Okay, that's not going to burn my mouth. I'm happy. Okay, oh, I need to change. Good morning, good morning. I'm Kristen.
I'm Karen.
Hi, Karen, nice to meet you. Okay, we'll go around and introduce ourselves here in a minute. Let me take out the blur of my background. There we go. Connor's coming on board. Let's see who else we have. Ellie's coming on board. All right.
We'll make an extra one in case.
Okay, that would be lovely.
Yeah. People come.
Yeah. We have some people coming in, so we've got some, two more people coming in. Olivia's coming in, Jaden's coming in. Let's get everybody in and ready to go. Did you all see what the topic was for this week? FSBOs expired and canceled. We'll talk about those, and why it might be a strategy that you want to pursue as you get started in real estate. And I know some of you are. I know that we have agents, new agents who are pursuing the expireds, canceled, and FSBOs. I didn't start out with the FSBOs. Okay, good morning, good morning. Remember, if you can have your camera on, you know that's my preference. I like to see faces, like to talk to people and see you if you can. That would be lovely. We have a guest joining us today. We have TJ joining us, and then we have one of our newest new agents. Karen, will you come up here so you can get in front of the camera and the people at home? My camera's right here. And this is Karen. And Karen, what have you done previous to real estate?
I worked at Amazon.
Amazon? Okay. And why did you decide to get into real estate?
I decided I like to make connections. with
Okay.
people. I love to talk to people.
Okay, all right, wonderful. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks, appreciate it. Good job, good job, good job. Good morning, Edgar. And you got Edgar, his materials?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Everybody's got their materials. For those of you on Zoom, I loaded last night. The student guide is in the launch Facebook page. I believe everybody, I think we still have a couple of new agents that haven't joined the Facebook page. So the launch program has its own closed Facebook page. And it is a source of resources and information. So I would definitely make certain that you're a part of that. Go under the files tab, and under the files tab, you're going to see a lot of resources. There are checklists. There are a lot of my power tools. And when you hear about Kristen's power tools, those are things that I've created over the years. Many of them I created for myself when I was an agent because I love organization. I love a good checklist. I like things to be orderly. When I got into real estate, it didn't feel very orderly. And I couldn't find the checklists that I wanted and craved. So I created those, and then I share them with you all now. And then I continue to add ones as I find other good resources that I think will be helpful for you. They are also, some of them are on digital chalk. Majority of them are on the office portal. So everybody checked out the office portal, and do you know what it is? Well, Karen probably doesn't because she's so new. It is the place where you can find everything about the office, meaning logos. Need logos for your marketing material. You need to know, how do I reach out to Rebecca, our market center administrator, or any of the staff members? It has all of that information. It has all of our service providers, all of the people that support this office that that you may need, like home inspectors, home warranty companies, gutter companies, contractors, we have artists, we have foundation repair, mold people, providers, all sorts of things. Actually, we will have our service provider breakfast, I think is next Tuesday morning. Okay, so let me just check the calendar because, oh yeah, we won't have class next Tuesday because this room will be filled with all of our service providers. They will each have a table and they will have information about their services or products, and you get to go around and meet them. I would highly recommend bringing your business cards. If you don't have business cards, just make up some slips of paper, because almost every single one of them will have really cool drawings. And so you can win fun stuff that our service providers bring. One year, I think the best, nobody's done this lately, but the best were Rolling Stone concert tickets one year. That was really nice. So you could win something. And also we have Chris Cakes come and make pancakes for all of us. So it's a fun morning. It's a great way for you to start building your service provider list because you're going to need it. You need to know who's a good roofer. You need to know who can help you with gutters. You need to know who do I turn to for foundation work. So all of those, they will be here. So I want to make sure you guys come because not only is it fun, but it's informative. And you need to build those relationships now. Don't wait until you have a client or transaction and then you're just trying to figure out. Good morning, Danny. Come on in. Do you have another one?
Yes, I make.
Yeah. Come on in. Come. Oh. So come make sure it's on the calendar next Tuesday morning. Come at 9 o'clock, the service provider breakfast. And it was in my email that I sent out about everything going on this week for you all to look at. So this topic today. So when you are in launch, one of the things that you will get is a weekday email every morning from my assistant, Jeg. She sends it out with the latest list of all of the for sale by owners, the most recent sale by owners, the most recent canceled, and the most recent expired listings. And so let me share screen with our Zoom people so that we can get into our topic. This is our topic for the week. So we will talk about it today and we will talk about it on Thursday morning also. Takes a minute for it to share. And then let's do the presentation. Oh, I forgot the login. Ugh. Hold on. Let's go in. Okay, we'll do it at the end. I'll get you guys to log in for the class at the end.
I need to look at the thing for the.
If you can, that'd be great for the in-person, and then I can flash it for the people online. Sorry, last night, yeah, when I was working on this, I was trying not to put any graphics in it because then I build the student guide from that. And I forgot to put that back in. Okay, well, let's talk about good morning, Jamie Ann. Come on in. Why target for sale by owners expired and canceled listings? Why do that? Can be. These are motivated at probably the most potent reason you do it is these are motivated sellers. These are motivated sellers who, no, it's not telling me the present. Oh, here we go. So I've got it right here. These are the people who have already raised their hand and said to the world, I want to sell my house. I want to sell my house. Most of the time as agents, we're looking for somebody who wants to sell their house. And not everybody visibly raises their hand. So we have to go find them. This is an opportunity for you to already know about somebody who already says, I want to sell my house. So motivated sellers is the number one reason we target FSBOs expired and canceled. Proven demand. These properties have already been listed. It also gives us insight to already how they've tried to position themselves. So we're not having to go in and ask them, well, how much do you want to sell this for and everything. We actually have a baseline on how they start. And maybe they've had some price adjustments on the expireds and the canceled, maybe even the FSBOs too. Less competition. Let me be honest. You all get the same list every morning. And some of you are going to say, oh, well, then everybody's calling. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you, most of you won't do it. And that's a choice, and it's okay, because not every form of lead generation is a good match for you. However, if you're truly hungry and need to get off the ground really quickly, this is one of the best lead gen targeting that you can do to get off the ground quickly. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy, and it will take and can take a little time. It's cost effective. You don't have to spend a lot of money doing this. You can do mailings, but you're only doing it to a handful of sellers, right? It's not like hundreds and thousands that you're trying to pursue. And also it has immediate value because, as Danny said, you do have the opportunity to convert these people because they already have said, you don't have to wait until they say, I'm ready to sell, right? They've already said, I'm ready to sell. And really what you're trying to do is help identify how you can help them in ways that maybe they have not been successful yet in the time that they have been trying to sell their house. Does that make sense? So by understanding the advantages, an agent can take these challenges. Good morning, Jocelyn. An agent can take these challenging situations and turn them into successful transactions for yourself and for the seller. So glad to see everybody after the Halloween holidays where we didn't see many people last week. So something. Let's break down the myth. Or shall we say, limiting belief also. Some things you might say to yourself. You can only succeed with FSBOs and expired listings by being aggressive and direct. Well, that can work for some real estate agents. However, most likely you're going to win from coming from contribution, establishing trust, and maintaining consistent follow-up. The most successful agents, they build relationships and rather than trying to push for immediate conversion. Because here's what I'm going to tell you about this group of people. FSBOs expired and canceled. Now FSBOs kind of have, and I'm going to lump them in a group. They have a different perspective of why they're not using an agent sometimes than what expired and cancels. Okay, and we'll get into a definite definition of the difference between expired and a canceled listing in a minute. Because they want to be a trusted, if you really want to succeed and make this a part of your business, how you lead generate, you have to build trust so that they trust you as an advisor and not just another salesperson, just competing, trying to get them. Because most of them can see it coming and can feel it and smell it. Now let's talk about the differences here. And I don't have a FSBO on here, but what is a FSBO? So what's that mean? So they're trying to sell their home all on their own, right? Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about what an expired listing is. Expired listing is they had a listing agreement with an agent for X amount of time, 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, and the agreement expired, and they may or may not choose to renew with that agent. Okay? Canceled means the agreement was terminated before the expiration date. And that could be for what kind of reasons do you think that they would expire? I mean, cancel. Why would a seller cancel their agreement? What? Abandonment, the agent wasn't taking care of them? That could be, definitely. What are other reasons that a seller would cancel their listing agreement?
Possibly like a family situation where they just can't sell their house right now.
Yes, Jaden, it can be something else has happened in their world that changed their plans. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's, yeah, maybe they thought they were moving and they're not. It can be different reasons. So that's where they have canceled that agreement. However, you have to be careful when a seller says, oh yeah, I've canceled my listing agreement. If you're pursuing that seller, please, please, please ask them to see the signed cancellation agreement. Good morning, Alice. Right? I'm not going to just take their word for it. I want to see the actual document that all parties have signed that. Because there could be some restrictions in the cancellation. Here's where you could get burned by being the second agent. There could be protected parties.
There's 2 people waiting.
Oh, thank you so much. I always need, you guys got to let me know. Let's see who's. Jody's there. Whitney's there. Got it. Whitney's coming on. So there could be actual protected parties in the cancellation agreement. Meaning there were buyers who were interested in that property that it speaks to in that cancellation that if they come back and buy that property, even if they list with you, the commission goes to the other agent. You want to know that. Was there a contract, previous contract on the house that didn't go through? And was it properly canceled? Because if it wasn't, that could become an issue with you taking over that listing. Maybe there's going to be some legal issues because there was a disagreement on the cancellation of that offer, of that contract, right? So that's where you want to be very careful. What's a withdrawn listing? You can read the definition, I don't care. What's a withdrawn listing?
Owner is still on the releasing agreement that FHA, the properties is not active on their maintenance.
Thank you, Karen. Karen just read the description, which is A-okay. First day here. Good job, Karen. Yeah, so on the daily email that you get from ARC Telecom, there may be some withdrawals. I wish they used to not put them on there, but occasionally I have seen them. You are not to pursue those whatsoever. Those are not options for you. You have to understand that withdrawn status can mean different things in different markets. Here in Kansas City, it means they have an existing listing agreement. They're just not active on MLS for whatever reasons. Maybe it's health reasons. Maybe they're doing some work on the house. Maybe they just need to sit out. Who knows? That is not a target for you. You touch that and you could have legal action for interfering with a legal contract. They call that torturous interference with a legal contract. No place you want to go, right? Okay, so withdrawals, no, right? Everybody agree? No. Okay. Okay. I just want to make that perfectly clear because I didn't have to worry about it before because they never included them and now they do because in different states, like I said, it can make difference. Let's just talk about FSBO sellers and kind of what's going on with them. So they're motivated by the desire to what? Why do you think they decided to sell it themselves?
Want the most money?
Most money. So that kind of means probably they're thinking, oh, to do that, I don't want to pay an agent commission, right? Okay. And they frequently, though, underestimate the complexities of selling their own home, and they don't quite understand a lot of time how limited they are on their access of information and coming up with their pricing. So the number one issue that a for sale by owner has is inaccurate pricing. So when you go on to Zillow, has anybody gone on to Zillow? Zillow? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. See those Zestimates? How accurate are those? Yeah. 30% accuracy. 30% accuracy in Kansas City, and here's why. They don't have access to our sold data. The only county that they can get access to sold data is Jackson County, and I actually don't know how accurate that is because although that's supposed to be required reporting, I don't know how well that is done. So they don't have access to the majority of our sold data at all. So I call those guesstimates. Those are not zestimates. Those are guesstimates. But a lot of FSBO sellers think well, it's Zillow. right? And Zillow has authority in the eyes of consumers. They think that's legit, and it's not legit. Can I let you in on a secret of why Zillow exists? Does anybody know why Zillow exists? Why'd they create Zillow? Yeah. They were smart. Jamie, and they designed a really easy, user-friendly, visually pleasing website that is super easy to use. Their app, consumers like it a lot. But here's what they don't care. They don't care how accurate their data is, because all they're trying to do is get leads to sell to us. Does anybody talk to an agent about how much you can spend on Zillow leads a month? Anybody talk to them? Thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a month to get Zillow leads. And every year or every couple of times a year, they're always tweaking their system. Like now they have a program called the Flex program where they will give referral leads, but they make it only to big teams and what have you. So they're always changing the landscape and what you pay and what you get for that pay. Now, I don't recommend it for a new agent because of the cost. And here's the other reason is one, you don't probably have your systems in place very well, meaning how are you going to follow up with them? How are you going to communicate with them? How are you going to track them? And probably your conversion skills are not very high yet. So you're going to pay for leads, you're going to call them, you're going to stumble through, and you're not going to make any progress with them. I'm not saying that it's never a good thing to do, but be aware that if you're new and you're lacking really strong systems and how to use them, and if you're not highly disciplined, then you're probably going to waste money. And that also, I will say that also about my experienced agents. I know a lot of experienced agents who have spent money on Zillow leads and never got it, maybe got one piece of business from it. And then they have this, they paid for all these leads. I said, what are you doing with those leads? Nothing. What? They give up. So inaccurate pricing is tied to misinformation in the marketplace, but consumers don't understand that. They think that's legit because of the reputation that they've built, the persona of their reputation they have built. Limited marketing reach. That's probably the biggest thing for a for sale by owner is that we can blast it out to all of the platforms and to all of the buyer's agents. They can't. They have limited platforms. Now, does Zillow have a for sale by owner section to it? Yes, it does. But still, they are limited. And who has the most buyers? The buyer's agents. The most qualified buyers. Let's even put it that way. You can get eyes on your property, but are they qualified buyers? And if they're not qualified buyers, then that's not going to help you sell your house. You want to get you want your property in front of as many qualified buyers and the agents that represent them as possible. And they don't have that. Now, some of them think I'm on a busy corner. That's great. I'll get traffic. I'll get eyes on my property. Again, they don't understand that, yes, they might get some buyers, but are they getting the absolute best qualified buyer for their home? You want to be in front of the biggest pool to get the best buyer, to give the best offer, and that they're so well qualified, they'll make it to the closing table. You can go under contract. That doesn't mean you're going to close. Here's a harsh reality of our business. We don't close every deal that we go under contract. And I hate to say that to you, but you're gonna have deals that don't close. And if you talk to an agent who says, oh, I've never had a deal not close, they haven't been in business long enough. Because it's just a matter of time. because we don't control everything. The significant time and effort, showings, inquiries, the paperwork. Let me ask you this, I just always think about, and I don't try to scare FSBOs at all. But think about it. Who's showing that house? Is it the stay-at-home mom with 2 kids opening up the door to maybe not qualified buyers? That doesn't feel real safe to me. Does it feel safe to you? No. And then how are you gonna figure out if they're qualified or not? Do they know to ask for a pre-approval letter before they would open that door and make that appointment? Probably not. And then just the time. I know one of the things, are they gonna be available to show that house on any day at almost any time? Probably not. And here's what we know and what you'll learn as an agent is, if a buyer can't go see a house when they want to go see a house, and there's enough inventory out there, they will not come back. They won't. Most likely, unless it's just like, looks like their dream home, then they may say, oh, we'll come back. Let's try and reschedule. But most will just keep on moving. They'll just keep on moving. So that type of availability feels very intrusive and hard. Lack of negotiating expertise. For sell by owner doesn't know the contract. They don't know where their legal protections are, and they don't know where the legal protections are for the buyer. They don't know that the buyer has 3 places in which they can legally cancel that contract. What are those? Anybody know? What are the 3 areas that, good morning, Jeffrey, that a buyer can legally cancel the contract? There are 3 points of the transaction in which they can cancel.
Um,
1 is inspections, 2 is,
finance,
both of you said it. I heard it online. Yes, financing. Appraisal. Good job, you guys. So inspections, financing, and appraisal. They don't know that. They don't know how to negotiate through that. They don't know that they have then a period after inspections in which to renegotiate. They don't know about that 5-day period. They don't know about the 5-day period if the appraisal doesn't come in. They don't know. And that the lack of negotiating expertise is they don't understand the legal complexities of the contract of the transaction to even know how to properly negotiate. It goes hand in hand. Why?
Do realtors ever take out the inspection clause if you are the seller's agent?
You can, we have what it's called in its present condition, addendum. And in that is where a seller could have that as, they could go proactive and say, we'll only take offers that will check box 1 or 2, which is you can do inspections. And number 1, you can cancel, do inspections, take as is, or cancel. Number 2 is you can do inspections, but you cannot cancel. Number 3 is you cannot do inspections and you cannot cancel. Now that sounds ideal as a seller, right? That's your highest legal risk for you and your seller. Because if that buyer doesn't do inspections and your seller doesn't disclose everything, or sometimes they don't know what they don't know, and the buyer gets in that house and finds things that were not disclosed, then you're looking at a lawsuit. It's the number 1 thing that happens after closing. Well, it's the number 2. Number 1 is people are happy in their homes. Number 2 is something goes wrong and they're convinced the seller knew about it and they didn't disclose it. So you can, I just say there's such legal risk if they waive inspections. the population of buyers who there are most likely to waive inspections are, investors.
So I was, trying to get a wholesale under contract,
Mhm,
and this house is worth $750,000.
mhm.
And they were willing to get under contract for 550.
Wow.
And so it was a really good deal, and they had pictures of the house and looked great, you know, remodeled everything. But they did the box C where no inspection, so, and you can't withdraw out of the contract.
Mhm.
And, we decided not to do it because
It's too risky.
it was too risky, but I didn't know, like, I mean.
You can negotiate, both sides can negotiate to take out the inspections.
Yeah, yeah, it was just, I felt like the best deal that could ever come, because we could have wholesaled it at $650,000.
True, but you don't know what you were getting into.
But we didn't know what we were getting into,
Yeah.
and then we'd be left with a $550,000 house.
Can't sell because there's something major
Yes.
wrong with it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, though. A seller is not precluded from disclosing what they know, the material facts about that, even if there's not a written seller's disclosure. Because that's a federal consumer protection law that they have to abide by. So a seller would have to, if you bought that house and found out there was something major, here's the thing is, you gotta prove the seller knew it.
Yeah,
And that is much harder than you think. So, and then do you want to go to court
yeah,
to win something like that and have legal fees and what have you, even if the other side loses and they pay your legal fees, it's still the cost and effort of that. Yeah. So that is the danger of not doing inspections, is you don't know what you don't know.
so as a buyer's agent, would you, and they're doing that box C, would you ever?
3, yeah.
Or 3,
Uh-huh.
would you ever, even though it's a great deal and it's, you know, 60% of what the purchase price should be, would you ever go with that or no?
Well, as a buyer's agent, I am only here to advise. That's all I do. I cannot force a buyer to do
Yeah.
or not do. I would highly recommend doing so. I would have them sign, we have an inspection, waiver, not waiver, but inspection advisory document. I'd have them sign where I'm saying you should do all of these.
Yeah.
Cause I want as much protection. And here's the other thing, if they don't do inspections and something goes wrong and this goes to court, you get sued over it, E&O probably will not cover you. Because our E&O insurance, errors and admissions, you all have E&O insurance and the brokerage has it. And being a former broker, I can tell you, while most of you will never be faced with a legal lawsuit in your whole career, some of you will. More business you do, the more likely it's gonna happen. It's just a volume type of thing. Without E&O, you don't have that coverage to have legal representation and for them to negotiate and settle on your behalf and all of that. So that's, again, see the legal, it goes deeper than you think. Does that help?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, here's a big one. And this happens to all of our sellers. Emotional bias. They are so personally attached to their home that they can't see or they can't tell it doesn't smell real nice. No, they can't, they're not smelling that dog odor of their beloved Basset Hound. Those dogs smell. They're huge as can be, but they smell. They can't see that. And that happens with all sellers. Know this, for our clients, these are personal transactions and not business transactions for the majority, vast majority of them. Think about what happens in someone's home. You bring up your children in a home. You've got all those memories. You've put blood, sweat, and tears into that home. Maybe you did some of the work yourself. You built that home. You remodeled that home. You hosted every family holiday in that home. Can you see how inside that home are so many emotions and memories? And that's what your seller clients hold with them. And so when someone says, I don't like the color of that kitchen, what were they thinking? That's ugly. That wallpaper in that bathroom's ugly. It's the favorite thing in the whole house for them. So you have to remember their emotional bias is real and you're not going to get rid of it, but you are going to have to manage it. And that's not easy. So that's kind of what's going on with FSBOs. Let's talk about expired and cancels. Common, and some of these are similar to a for sale by owner. Some of the challenges and mindset and everything. Overpricing relative to the current market conditions. You know, we are coming off of a multi-year extreme seller's market where we had limited inventory. And there for a while, in the beginning, houses were flying off the shelf and buyers would almost buy anything. Anything, because it was so limited. And that's not the case anymore. So some sellers have in their head the price their neighbor got 2 years ago and out that. Probably not the same market. Well, it's not. They might not be able to get that same price or that same increment of increase that they'd seen. Because traditionally value there for a very long time until probably say, yeah, I'd say going into 2018, maybe 17, 16, appreciation on homes was traditionally in the United States 4% every year, meaning the increase of the value of your home would go up historically across the United States, 10% was the average. Then we started seeing 10 and 12%. Well, we're probably going back, hopefully we're going back to the more traditional because that keeps us a more stable market. While it was great for sellers to have those bumps, right? But what has it done to us? What are we seeing now? What's hard for a buyer right now?
You don't know.
What about interest rates? Yeah, they're going down a little bit. That's great. We'll take every little notch it goes down. And then the prices of homes have gone up so much. So it has made it harder for the buyer pool as a whole to move forward and to buy up. Poor presentation. So sometimes an expired or canceled listing could have had not very good exposure. Maybe that agent wasn't good at marketing. Maybe they did very little. So poor presentation and inadequate marketing go hand in hand. And maybe they weren't willing to get their property in show condition. Because here's another thing that happened during that time when it was an extreme seller's market. They didn't have to do much to their house. And now if you want top dollar, you have to be in a condition that I would rate a 10. Because sellers are paying more than they ever have for a house. They're paying higher interest rates and they want almost perfect. They are pickier than they have ever been. And some of the sellers are in the mindset, remember, consumers are not always as current in their mindset about the market as we are. They lag sometimes like 6 months to a year lag in their mindset of really what's going on. So if they're not willing to get that property in top condition, then the price is going to have to reflect that. It's not going to be a top price. You're not going to get high dollar when you've got dated kitchen and bathrooms and all of that. Unrealistic expectations regarding the sale timeline and the terms. During this time of an extreme seller's market, we used to kid that you almost had to offer up your firstborn to the seller to get him to take your contract. I know people that offered like a case of a seller's favorite whiskey to try to sweeten their contract, their offer. I know somebody who said we'd take the dog if it'd make it easier for the seller. I know people, just crazy stuff was being offered to try to get their offer. Somebody, their favorite cigars. I mean, you're just like, what? They did what? I kiddingly say, yeah, give naming rights to the seller of your firstborn too. So those unrealistic expectations are still in some sellers' minds. Well, I heard my neighbor or my cousin, and they didn't have to repair anything due to inspections. And actually, most buyers were trying to not do inspections or do them just for their knowledge and not ask for anything. Now that's starting to change. Buyers can actually start feel okay about doing inspections and asking for some repairs or a credit for those repairs. Limited showings because of a lack of responsiveness or flexibility. So sometimes I've seen it. You guys will try to schedule a showing. Did you know not all brokerages use Broker Bay? And Broker Bay is how you schedule appointments to go show houses for sale. And if you haven't if you haven't made an appointment for a property and you haven't gone and done the lockbox and all of that, then schedule some previews. But schedule them on vacant houses. Don't throw people out of their house when you don't have a buyer, okay? But practice that because it's not as easy as you think. Has everybody opened up doors? Well, Karen, you get passed. You opened up doors?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, sometimes it's not easy. Douglas, you've opened up doors. Jamie, have you opened up doors yet? Okay, you've got to. What? Opened up doors? Okay, Danny, you've opened up doors. Jocelyn, I know you've opened up doors. I know you have, Jeffrey, because you've done open houses. Edgar, have you opened up doors yet? Okay. And those of you on Zoom, open up doors, make preview appointments. You should be doing it anyway to get familiar with what the dollar buys in different parts of town and practice that. Because you are going to have times where you're going to have to schedule a showing with a teeny tiny little brokerage. It might be a brokerage of one agent. And it says schedule showing with agent. Has anybody had to do that yet? Okay, just wait. They may or may not answer their phone. You think I'm kidding? It's awful. And you're trying to get in, you're trying to schedule, and they're not getting back to you because they're a one-person show. And then it can be that your sellers aren't flexible. Oh, I had this seller. She was unique. It was a married couple. He'd already moved, left her to sell the house. And I think she was pissed. Because her behavior, woo. I had a friend of mine who's an agent call me and say, Kristen, I was trying to show your house at 123 Main Street, but my buyer doesn't get off work until 5 p.m. So we can't go show your house. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, showings cut off at 5. And I'm like, what? My seller called, she called and told them no showings after 5 p.m. It's summer. I'm like, you did that and didn't tell me? She's like, yeah, I don't want anybody bothering me in the evenings. And then when we did have showings, it wasn't unusual. She did this several times. And I got a phone call from an agent who was showing the house. He goes, is your seller challenging? And I said, Why are you asking? This is because she was at home for the showing. She knew we were in the backyard and she turned on the sprinklers. They weren't automatic sprinklers, guys. They weren't.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I could go on. The stories go on. But she was not making it available for showings. Because I think this was the way she was punishing her husband for leaving her. Agent issues, poor communication, perceived underperformance. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more. While this may be true, I'm going to tell you this now, and then we'll talk about it again on Thursday. You are not to trash other agents. I want you to know you live in a tiny world of real estate. All of you do. What you do, what you say about other agents will get around. And you don't know, I don't know who Edgar knows. And I might go to trash or vent about another agent. Oh my God, I can't believe how unprofessional they were. And they did this and then they did this. No, they didn't do that. I can't believe they went on the market and their listing looks like this. Well, maybe their seller, maybe they pleaded with their seller to get it in show ready condition and the seller didn't listen to them. So I learned very quickly that you do not, we live in this tiny world. And if you want to have a good reputation and if you want other agents to do business with you and want to do business with you, we do not trash other agents. We address the situation by showing what we do and what we provide in contrast. Okay, makes sense? We do not trash other agents. You all have more influence on your clients than you realize, or maybe you do know. If you're on my list, I have a list of like 3 or 4 agents that are on this list that I hope I never come across. Never, ever. Good morning, Jaden. If you're my buyer and you say, let's go see an agent on this listing, I might look at that carefully and say, hey, you know what? It didn't have any of the features you said you had to have in that home. Why are we going to go see that? Shouldn't we go see this other house? Now, it's my fiduciary duty if they said, no, I really want to see that, to do that, but I have influence. I have influence on my seller on whether we should take your offer or not. When I have 2 comparable offers, and I know that Edgar is so easy to work with, but this agent over here is a nightmare. I've worked with him before and everything that could go wrong went wrong because they didn't do their job. Who am I going to recommend to my seller? I'm going to say, let's go with Edgar. He's a solid guy, good agent. I know he'll get us to the finish line. So we have influence. So be careful about your reputation and what you say and what you do. So we never trash other agents. Seller expectation, motivation. There can be different reasons for expired and canceled listings. But when they first went on the market, they were so optimistic that they were going to sell their house. They probably thought they were going to sell their house in a very short period of time. And maybe now it's becoming a financial strain because it's been on the market day after day and they're getting less showings, and maybe they got some offers, but maybe they were lowball offers and who knows what all's happened. But it's probably not been the most positive journey that got them to the expired point, right? Or the canceled point. So remember, talking to those sellers could be different in their mindset and their emotions than the ones that are the for sale by owners. Does that make sense? That they're coming from different directions, and you've got to tune into that. You can't treat it like I'm just going to call and go through the list and just crank it out. You've got to listen to what they're saying and what they're wanting, what their expectations. So they are often frustrated, feel let down, and may question the value of using an agent because it wasn't a good experience for them. Now, again, another caveat, sometimes it's because of them. They could be a nightmare seller. And then they're going to go trash an agent and that agent becomes their scapegoat. So that's another reason we don't jump on that train. We can say, I understand from what you've shared, you're feeling frustrated. Not, oh, that agent sounds awful. Make sense? But if you can tap into their reasons for wanting to sell and it's still they're highly motivated to sell, then you've got to figure out how motivated, meaning are they ready to do something different? I'll give you an example. I had a listing. It was referred to me by another agent. She was an agent that I knew. And she said, I've had this listing, I think she'd had it about a year. That's when listings stayed on the market longer. It was very much a buyer's market. She said, and he wants to change directions and go with another agent. I'm still on good terms with him, but he just feels like he's ready for a different direction. And I would like to refer him to you. Because in her mind, she'd rather get something than nothing, because she'll get a referral fee. I think it's really smart. If you're still on good terms, let me connect you with another agent that might be a better fit for what you're wanting to accomplish at this time. By the time I got him, he was now ready to listen. He was ready to listen on pricing, which he hadn't been before. He was ready to listen on, we need to do something about the condition of it. It was in very good condition. He had had it for like 2 years and never lived in it because his daughter was going to go to medical school. It was like a $350,000 house. This was like 15 years ago. So it was a nice house. He owned budget hotels. And so he had staged it with budget hotel lobby furniture. So this very nice house was what the furnishing didn't go with the house, and then it had marble, not marble, it had granite floors, black granite, very cold. Had this really awful wallpaper in the kitchen. I got him to do all the things. I brought my stager in and talked about, here's what we need to change the paint colors. Let's warm this up. Let's stage a couple of rooms. He was now ready to listen after a year. So just know, sometimes they will be ready to listen to you, but sometimes they won't. Okay, so we're going to stop right there since we've kind of gotten into the mindset of the difference between a FSBO and expired and canceled. We're going to dive into how do we go after possible business and building a relationship with these potential sellers. JD. Yes, you could say that. It's been hard to connect with them. That's not trashing. Let's just say facts. There's a difference, yeah. So read your student guide before Thursday's class, and then we'll pick up and dive into more for sale by owners and expireds. Okay? All right. You guys learned some stuff? Good, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody online. Appreciate you being there.
Hello, launchers.
Hello, Lavette.
You want this done? I will be here.